Everybody, she is known for taking junk and making it into beautiful works of art for your home. Please welcome the founder of Junk Market, Sue Whitney, to our home.
Sue.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
Great
you.
to be in California.
We are so happy to have you here. Your new book that was just released, Junk Beautiful,
Yep.
that's a perfect name for it because you've taken some junk and made it real beautiful.
I know.
Well, I call it the 3 Ps: pretty, practical, and plausible.
That's right. One
So for
person's
projects-
trash
Yep.
is another person's treasure.
Well, I just regret all the stuff I just threw out, the cleaning out my garage the other weekend.
I know, because
Like,
Sue could have made
she
it
could have made it into something.
gorgeous. Now you
Somebody
just have to
has
collect
it now,
some more.
you know. Somebody
Somebody
actually
dug through the
collected it.
trash
Right.
to get it.
Well,
So in your book, you show 30 different ways to transform junk into really works of art. And I'd love to show our viewers some of the beautiful things you have made in the book.
Okay, that's the in-law chair, our vintage chair. It's a ladder back. It's very stiff, so when your in-laws come over, bring that out. Otherwise, you can put it in your bathroom and use it to store your towels and your bath necessities.
What a great
Very simple.
idea. I
wonderful.
would have never thought to do
Beautiful.
that.
Yeah.
Bar ladder, this is everybody's favorite. Bars are a dime a dozen, so I took lots of different elements. I took an A&W root beer stand. I took some drapery rods, and then what's holding the towel is a typewriter thingamajig.
smart.
That's a professional word. Now, this is what we call a hack. This is not old. It's new, but it was not functional the way it was, so I flipped it upside down, gave it some balance, and took something from my kitchen, the little...
Was that a basket?
It was a basket.
Just a basket.
And but if you used it, and if you touched
It's
it, it
going
would
to tip over. I love
So
how you
it-
tip your whole world over and seeing things on its side and go, I can, there it is, and you
Well-
see like this.
Right, but I do that, turn everything upside down, inside out, sideways, and look at it, and you'll figure out something.
And you see a whole different world when you begin to do that,
You can only
including the,
imagine what I see in my brain. Sorry.
these are pipe organs, right?
They are.
And we've made this, you have, I like to include
Yes,
myself
I
in
know,
it
'cause
just
you're
because,
helping.
Royal
yes,
we.
I am
You're
helping
helping.
the
You're
royal we,
helping.
into a craft bench table thing, not table,
Shelf.
It's a shelf.
Let me help you out with
There you
that
go.
one.
See,
But
we
she
work
could make
together.
it a table.
Teamwork.
I
It's
had a
teamwork.
nap.
If she wanted to, she could make it a table. But today we're making
All
it a
right,
shelf.
so take us through this here, what we're looking at, because pipe organs, people don't, these are like you would see in a church,
Well,
right? Like
they are, but I heard a story once, and I'm sticking to it and saying it's true because I've told it for about 20 years. But
That makes it true then.
But the pipes come when one section breaks. To keep them in tune, then you have to replace the whole section, not one pipe. So you have a lot of orphan pipes available to use. And I've made a shelf here, but you could do lots of different things. You could make bird feeders out of them. You could take this top off when you got sick of the shelf and plant it with succulents and just have it,
Yeah.
Beautiful.
wall art with the plants. It would be really pretty.
Okay, so you've put this, they're all singular. They come one.
Correct.
So you didn't just glue this together because this
No.
is pretty substantial.
But you do have to glue it, and then you clamp it together. And then I got the flat bar. And if you don't know what things are, just go to your hardware store and say, I want one of those thingamajigs with a whole bunch of holes in it, and they'll be able to
And
find
they'll
it
help
for
you.
you. So you see, I get a little carried away with the screws, but this makes it nice and
Sturdy.
so
want
it's
that.
not going to fall apart. And then, while I was back here, then I just took the old-fashioned way, which I think is better, quite frankly, for hanging heavy
Yeah.
things. With the screws, you put the screws in halfway, you take the wire, and then you tighten them up so you get a really
Right.
secure hang.
Okay.
Okay.
And then I put the shelf on the top. And by the way, if you don't have to cut wood, just buy a shelf at the hardware store. Or if you want to put wood on it, you can actually have them cut to size for you. So
Yeah.
you don't have to. You don't have to have a.
No, but then if they
Alright.
have to cut it, then you got junk left over.
Well,
No,
she'll
you
take
can-
it with
yeah,
her.
but
so
you
she
take
can
it
make
with
something
you.
else.
Oh,
Then you
something
take it and then it makes something. Oh, I see.
Or you use it
You
as practice
manufacture your own
boards,
junk.
and then when it works, then you
And
use
the-
it for something
Right.
else. I travel when I write books, and I do a lot of my projects and make mistakes in the parking lots after dark. So
Yeah.
people don't. I'm out there going. "Oh,
No,
should
but
I
that's
be
good.
doing
You
this?"
have to make the mistakes
So
to know how
what-
to make it right.
Right. So you just screw it on, and then, I like what I call the aha factor, which is putting something really cool with it. And old paintbrushes are great. So you can use. I took some that were expensive. I took some that were inexpensive,
started
and mixed
on the
them all
nail.
together. So you're going to put the little tack nail in.
I thought that was so interesting what you told us earlier that old paintbrushes are hard to find these days.
Well, they are, but because people are starting to use them, for their home, and even if you just take like a beautiful sterling silver vase or a pitcher and just put the old paintbrushes in them, it's stunning.
think of
It's
that.
so stunning.
It's so
and it's so sometimes. So then I'm just gonna take the copper wire and wind it in there. Now you can get the copper wire at here it is right here. You can get that at a craft store, or you can do like I do, and I go to construction sites and I take the real wire when they're doing something. Because
They'll never miss it, Sue.
make sure you
I
wear the
do,
hat.
but it really is kind of funny. You're going to do the little
Okay.
twist
Oh,
with it.
the
no, you-
twist.
No,
right.
do the twist
Okay,
with
okay,
this or
okay.
that.
Is this too big? All right.
No, you can do it.
You just turn it. You
So
flip it around.
I'm not a
right?
big believer in fancy tools if you don't have to have them.
Yeah.
So you can use anything that's at your fingertips, whether it's a paintbrush, whether
And
it's
do
a
the
Sharpie.
small one once.
Right, and then you can do. Oh, you guys are good.
Well, we compete.
You can
It's-
come be on the junk
Oh, I
market
love
team.
that. Oh, the smaller one's even cooler.
I think the smaller one's better. I think mine's better.
I kind of think
I
yours
think
is better
mine's
too.
better,
I have to be
too.
honest. I like the
Look at
smaller one.
Look at that.
Yeah, either
You
one's
know what?
cool.
Try to fix yours. Never
I
mind.
like them both.
Oh, thank you.
Do I get to hang it?
You
Do I
do
get to
get to
hang it?
hang
I noticed you put little.
I did put
Oh,
little
yeah.
hooks
Hooks
because
in there.
that's for hanging aprons. I'll hand it to you.
Okay.
If you want, or you
Crossing.
can hang other things. You could put it in a kid's room. But if you wanted to do it like we had it before,
Right.
then you can just use it as a piece of art on a side table in the hallway.
And it's heavy, so you definitely want to find studs to put it in, or a stud to put it up.
There you go.
whichever.
Oh gosh.
How did I
Sue.
see that
Yeah.
one coming?
And then you just put it. You know where this
you
would be
can
good in a mud room.
It would be great in a mud room.
I love
And-
this.
And I do talk a lot too about, people in my industry are getting too tchotchke, I think, and they're
Yeah.
getting too cluttered. So everything that you see me do is clean and modern in line, even though I'm using vintage or junk.
I don't know if you can see this up close, but it looks like they have the key that it's in. Is
They
this
do.
F sharp?
Yep.
And is it C and
See?
And that is something that you'd never want to get rid of, by the way,
Yeah.
because you want the identification
Yeah.
of the piece. And notice,
And it gives it the authenticity.
And notice I didn't paint that. Okay, so
Yeah,
there's
that's
a
right,
craze
that's
about
right.
painting.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So there I just took it, they were in pretty rough condition, and I just sanded them and then took a stain and tried to bring them closer back to what they would have been,
Yeah.
rather than covering them with paint,
Sue?
which would have
Wonderful.
destroyed value.
You are phenomenal. You really do
You
take
really
people's
are.
junk and turn it into treasure. That is gorgeous. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Beautiful.
You guys be sure to order a copy of Sue's new book, Junk Beautiful, available at Lowe's.com.
Gorgeous stuff. Up next, more with our family.